Today on APT History, the story of the Chechen War, a conflict that reshaped Russia and a young Putin who stepped into the center of it. The story begins in the late summer of 1999, when Russia found itself pulled once again into the mountains and valleys of the North Caucasus. In August, fighters loyal to Shamil Basayev and the foreign-born commander Ibn al-Khattab crossed from Chechnya into Dagestan. Their aim was bold: ignite a wider Islamic uprising, stretch Moscow's authority to its limits, and seize territory. What they encountered instead was a country already pushed to the edge by years of crisis and now jolted into alarm. The explosions that followed, apartment buildings in Moscow and other cities torn open in the night, those explosions deepened the atmosphere of fear. People who had come to accept the difficulties of the 1990s suddenly felt something new: vulnerability. Whoever was responsible, the effect was unmistakable. Russia was being pulled towards a type of instability that destroys states. And in the middle of this tension, a relatively unknown figure entered the national stage: Vladimir Putin, recently appointed Prime Minister. He spoke briefly, sometimes abruptly, but always with certainty. His message was simple: Russia would re-establish control. That promise soon turned into action. By late September, Russian troops moved towards the Chechen border. They crossed the Terek River in October, advancing slowly and methodically. This operation was not a repeat of the chaotic First War. The strategy was deliberate: heavy use of artillery, air power, and carefully coordinated ground movements designed to avoid the disastrous losses of the mid-1990s. Grozny, the Chechen capital, became the center of the conflict. The marketplace bombing on the 21st of October in 1999, which killed scores of civilians, showed the sheer violence of the battle unfolding around the city. Through December and into early 2000, Russian forces tightened their grip. The fighting was brutal, building to one of the deadliest urban sieges in post-Soviet history. And when the city finally fell in February, it marked a decisive turning point. Chechen resistance did not disappear, but their war had changed. In the spring of 2000, as large-scale battles ended, Chechen fighters turned to ambushes, landmines, and hit-and-run attacks. Komsomolskaya became one of the most dramatic clashes of this period. Ruslan Gilev and his men held out for 2 weeks, surrounded, outgunned, and refusing to surrender. The village was devastated, and hundreds died. Moscow realized that military pressure alone could not secure the republic. The solution would have to come from inside Chechnya. This was the beginning of what became known as Chechenization, shifting power to local leaders who were willing to rebuild the republic in cooperation with the federal government. Akhmad Kadyrov's decision to change sides was a pivotal moment. A former rebel who now believed stability required partnership with Moscow, he became the face of the new Chechnya. His assassination in 2004 was a shock, but it did not derail the process. His son, Ramzan Kadyrov, stepped in, bringing fierce loyalty, strict control, and a determination to prove that Chechnya could move beyond war. Under him, Chechnya was rebuilt. Streets repaved, mosques restored, and the constant presence of conflict slowly replaced by a new order. Meanwhile, Russian forces continued to target the insurgency's leadership. Maskhadov in 2005, Basayev in 2006, Khattab earlier, killed in a covert operation. One by one, the commanders who had shaped the conflict were removed. By 2009, Moscow formally declared the counter-terrorism operation over. But the deeper effect of the war stretched beyond Chechnya. For Russia, the conflict became the moment the state reasserted itself after the turmoil of the 1990s. It was the period in which authority, governance, and territorial integrity were restored. It was also the arena in which Vladimir Putin moved from a new, unfamiliar face to the central political force of the country, a leader defined not by rhetoric, but by how he navigated a national crisis. The Second Chechen War left immense scars. It reshaped families, cities, and generations. But it also reshaped the Russian state. It introduced a new political order. It forged an alliance with Chechnya's new leadership and signaled that the period of drift was over. Today, when Russians look back at that era, they often remember not only the violence but the turning point, the moment the country began to pull itself back together. This is APT History, telling the stories that built the world we live in.